Today's walk starts from Clay Village Hall car park. You ready, Archie? Archie? Not really, but let's go. And on to the Fairstead. To the left we have Clay Hall, which is a rather nice building. Right, we'll take a left here, and this is the school I went to. There used to be an iron railing here. That building there with the blue door used to be the outside toilet, and that sort of sticky out was where Mrs. Toft, the headmistress, had her office. Mrs. Toft was a little bit of a fierce lady from what I can remember. That was the first classroom you went into, this one, and as you got older you went into this classroom. And this is where the climbing frame used to be. Now from the school, you used to be able to go straight through there and through the archway, a medieval archway. But now, God, they have changed it. Can you go through there? Yes, you can. This has totally changed. And I won't say that it's for the better either. So we come out of this archway now. That's where the gulls used to live, over there. And that's the medieval archway that used to go through. It's totally changed. On to Clay Quay. They're all fishermen's cottages there, but obviously not fishermen's cottages anymore, and obviously very very expensive to buy. That building there was a granary, and Mr. Newton had a cabinet makers there, and obviously the mill, the famous mill, which was once in my family. And this is Clay Quay, which I think they call Clay Harbour now, because it's all posh. I think the slipway, I don't think the slipway used to be there. I think it used to be more central. I might be wrong. Memory, hey? But yeah, the smell from that workshop was incredible. Very good they were as well. I think they used to make violins, I seem to remember. Violins hanging up. Maybe not. Right, let's get on with this journey in the past. As a lad, we would play on the marshes from like age 4, 5, something like that, believe it or not. But now apparently, or at least this piece of the marsh, is private property. Probably always was. But as I said before, nobody ever questioned you when you're a kid, and because everybody knew everybody else. I think the floods in 53 must have brought the whole village together, and everybody knew everybody else, so you couldn't get up to too much mischief because your family would soon find out. Right, because we're in Norfolk, there are not too many hills, so if we did get a spell of snow, this hill, if you can call it such, was where we aimed for if we wanted to go sledging. There was none of that. This was a clear field, but this is where we went sledging. And that building ahead of us was Major Blunt's farm, and he had somebody working for him called Mr. Bolt, who had been his Batman when he was in the army. Mr. Bolt was a very nice man. So on to Clay High Street. Up there used to be a barn, don't know if it's still there, and it had a trampoline in it. And Mr. Major, should I say, Major Blunt would let the village kids go on the trampoline. It was mainly in there for his grandchildren when they were on holiday, but if they weren't about, they quite often used to let us go on the trampolines, which was fantastic. The longhouse there is where the cooks lived. The Hans are here on the left hand side. That used to be the King's Head pub. That house there, the White House, is where I was born. And the little rock here used to sit on that when I was a little boy. There was an army camp nearby, and the army lorries used to go in. And I used to love that. And one day a woman came out, or knocked on the door, and said that I shouldn't be sitting on that stone so near to the road. My nana gave her short shift. There used to be a garage that sold petrol, had a little showroom. My dad bought this Ford Anglia Deluxe from the garage owner, Mr. Ormerod, for the princely sum of £385, as seen from his diary entry of the time. And workshops, and now all gone, just houses. And Crab Pot Books used to be a small supermarket called Rust's. Later it became Wavy Line. In 1963, my dad took a short film of the White House. On the far right of the front was a newsagent, formerly my great-grandfather's bakery. The newsagent was run by K. Gilpin, and during most of the day was funded by an honesty box. And that is the rather imposing customs house where Mr. and Mrs. Savoury lived. Good boy. Now the parish house, they'd have bric-a-brac stalls there, beetle drives, and here's the garden for the George Hotel, which is the first thing that has remained a constant. Everything else has changed. That building there used to be a chip shop and a butcher's. When the butcher's closed, the whole place became the chip shop. But when I was a boy, it was a chip shop and a butcher's. And over there, I'm not sure which one actually. There was a part-time Barclays Bank. Got a feeling it was that one on the left, but I'm not sure. Opposite that was the Fishmonger's Arms, but it was closed at the period I'm talking about, 63. But it was become an antique shop. When the tailors came from Norwich, and for a few years it was a antique shop. Oh my god, there's actually a phone in the phone box. And this is the old town hall, which also had whisk drives and beetle drives and such a. And over there, that was a chapel, which I occasionally went to. This is the rocket house, because it used to house all the equipment for the breeches boy. And this over there is the whalebone house, because allegedly the bones around the brickwork or stonework is from whales, but it's not. It's from cows or horses or such like. Definitely not a whale. Made in clay. Used to be Stars. Stars was run by Miss Star and her assistant, Mr. Charlie Francis. They sold just about everything and anything from what I can remember. It even had a small toys section, which of course I remember the most. And the shop smelled of polished wood, which was gorgeous. Gallery over there was a butcher's. Picnic Fair over there was a forge, blacksmith's forge, but it was closed when I was a boy. And this used to be a cobbler's. And across the way, Smuggler's Rest indeed, where the dormer windows are, that was Stangram's, which was sort of a little supermarket. And where the post box is, that's where the post office was. We'll now return to the car park by going up this lane here. And back to the village hall. Village hall was not here when I was a little boy. All of this was just playing field, and the local school used to do its sports on here.